Welcome to the chapter 6 of class 9. The chapter is Lines, Angles and Triangles. In this chapter, we'll learn about all the theorems and axioms related to the lines, angles and triangles. In this chapter, we'll learn some basic terms and definitions. Line segment, line and ray, which is already known to you. Then we will study about collinear and non-collinear points, concurrent lines. Then coming on to angles, types of angles, then complementary angles and supplementary angles. After that, we will move on to the pairs of angles and some axioms related to the pairs of angles. They are the adjacent angles, linear pair and vertically opposite angles. Then we will talk about intersecting and non-intersecting lines. Now let us begin with the fundamental aspect of geometry, a point. What is a point? When you make a dot on a paper with a pencil with a sharp tip, that gives us an idea of a point. Point can be seen at the tip of a needle, tip of your compass, tip of your pencil. All these gives an idea of a point. Now, why is a point important? A point is important because it gives the location on any two-dimensional plane. A point determines the location. A point is always represented by capital letters like A, B, C. I can show you more. B, E. It's always represented by the capital letters. So that gives an idea of a point. After line segment, let us come to the topic of lines. Now, E and F are 2 points on this plane, and the shortest distance between E and F is called a line segment. This is a line segment. What if I extend this line from E towards this side and from F towards this side? If I go on extending on both the sides, what I will be getting is called a line. I can show you that. This is a line. So a line extends indefinitely in both the directions. Or I can also say that a line segment is a part of a line. If I take this portion out of a line, so I get a line segment. Is that clear? I can draw more lines for you. I can show you. Suppose I have a point this way. This is a line passing through points A and B. I can even show you more. This is a line passing through C and D. Okay. If you see, a line is denoted either by 2 capital letters or by a single small letter. I can show you that. It is represented either by 2 capital letters A and B here or a small letter F. In this case, it is C and D or a small letter G. Okay, is this clear? So, when a line segment is extended indefinitely in both the directions, you get line. So, what is the major difference between a line and a line segment? A line segment has got 2 definite endpoints, whereas a line has got no endpoints. It keeps on extending in both the directions. A line segment can be measured, a line cannot be measured. Okay. So these are some of the examples of lines. I hope this portion is clear to all of you. Now let us consider the next fundamental aspect of geometry, a line segment. I have 2 points here, A and B. Suppose I want to go from A and B. What are the different routes I can take? Let me show you some routes. It can be like this. Yes, it can be like this. Of course, it can be like this too. But I would prefer one more route, this way, from A to B. So all these are different routes through which I can go from A to B. And out of all these routes, this particular distance is the shortest route. This AB is called a line segment. It is the shortest distance between 2 given points. It is the shortest distance between 2 given points. A line segment is represented by the two letters, capital letters. You can call it as line segment AB, or it can also be called as BA. Here I have another line segment. This is CD, or I can also call it as BC. This is EF or FE. So what are the properties of line segment? It has got two endpoints. In all these cases you have seen it has got two definite endpoints because it is the distance between 2 points, shortest distance between 2 points. Secondly, it can be measured. I can measure this. See, this distance EF is 9.39. You can use a scale to measure this. So these are the properties of a line segment, which is the second important aspect of geometry. When we talk about lines and points, there is one important thing that I should mention. That is about the collinear points and non-collinear points. What are collinear points? Collinear points are those points which lie on the same line. I have some points A, B, C, D and E here. Now just see, this line F passes through A, B, C, D and E. So the points A, B, C, D and E are collinear points because they lie on the same line. Now what are non-collinear points? The points F, G and H are non-collinear. Why? Because when I try to pass a line through them, I am not able to do that. Let me show you. Try to pass a line through them. See here. The line passes through F and G, but F and H, but not G. I'll try once again. I'm drawing a line that I'll try to pass through all these 3 points. So it passes through F and H, but it does not pass through G. So these 3 points F, G and H are non-collinear points because they are not lying on the same line. Through 2 points, definitely one line will pass. So non-collinear or collinear will be saying only for the points more than 2 points. Okay. So here I am having 3 points because G is not lying on the line H. So we say F, G and H are non-collinear points. Here we have many points A, B, C, D, E all are lying on one point, one line. So I can say they are all collinear points. Is this much clear to all of you? When we talk about lines, there are two things which I need to tell you. One is about the intersecting lines and second is about the parallel lines. Now let us see what are intersecting lines. I have two lines here. One is AB, another is CD. In this figure they are not intersecting, but if I do it like this, they are intersecting and they are intersecting at this point. Suppose I can name it as E. These two lines intersect at a point and the point is E. These lines are called the intersecting lines. Is this clear? Now let us see the answer of one very interesting question that is given in your book. Can more than two lines intersect at one point? I have two lines AB and CD intersecting at E. Now let us see whether we can draw any other line that passes through E or which can intersect at E. Okay. Yes, this particular line EF again passes through E. So now three lines are intersecting at the point E. Can there be any other line? Yes, of course. You have this GE again which is passing through this point E. Now we have four lines which are passing through the point E. Here another one HE, the fifth line also passes through the point E. So five lines are intersecting at one point. Another one I can show, this one. Another one, this one. So I can draw infinitely many lines that pass through a single point. Here the point is E. Through E, I can draw as many as line as I like, and they are all called as the intersecting lines, and they all intersect at the point E. Such lines are called as the concurrent lines. They are called as the concurrent lines. So the answer is yes, infinite lines can pass through a point, and these lines are called as concurrent lines. Let us talk about angles. Angles are formed by two rays having a common origin. So here this angle is read as angle BAC or angle CAB. Mind it, the the letter at the vertex should be in the middle of the angle while you name it. If you say angle ABC for this angle, it will be wrong. So you should always say it as BAC or CAB or simply angle A. Okay. Now if you see the value of this angle, this is 40 degrees. You all know, you have already learned that such angles are called as acute angles. Now let us talk about the other angles also, not just two, or there are many more. This is a right angle when the measure of the angle is 90 degrees. When the measure of the angle increases from 90 and when it is less than 180, you call them obtuse angle. This is an obtuse angle. This angle will remain obtuse till it reaches the value of 180 degree. This is a straight angle. You learned an acute angle, a right angle, an obtuse angle, and this is a straight angle. The measure of a straight angle is always 180 degrees. After the straight angle, when the arm moves like this, what you get is called a reflex angle. This is a reflex angle. Reflex angle goes on increasing, and this finally makes a complete angle. This is a complete angle. So what are the angles we studied? Acute angle, it is 90 degree, it is right angle. Obtuse angle, till 180 degree you call it an obtuse angle. At 180 it becomes a straight angle. Then you have a reflex angle. This is a reflex angle, and when it comes and completes one complete rotation, it is a complete angle. So these are the different types of angles on the basis of the measures. We are now going to talk about a pair of angles which are called as a complementary angles. A pair of angles or two angles are said to be complementary if the sum of the measures of the two angles is equal to 90 degrees. For example, you can see here two angles. One is FAC, another is DEB, or it's the other way around, sorry, it's like this. It is FED and BAC. Okay, FED or DEF and BAC. These are the two angles. These two angles are complementary because the sum of the measures of these two angles, 40 plus 50, comes out to be 90 degree. When sum of the measures of two angles is equal to 90 degree, they are called as complementary angles, or we say that they complement each other. Now, suppose I increase the value of one. Naturally, to become the complement of the other will reduce. And similarly, if I decrease the value of one, to complement with to make it a complementary angle, that means to make it 90 degree, the other will increase. Suppose you can see this, I'm decreasing this angle. Suppose this is 33. Now I need to make the other angle complement, then this will become 57. So it's not exactly, it will become exactly 57. So 57 and 33 are complement to each other. Now suppose I increase this angle, the C1. This is here. I increase C. In order to make this angle complement to that, so this will reduce. And this will become, if this is 49, then it will become 41 degrees. So this angle and this angle are said to be complementary. I can actually separate these two. I'll show you. Just a moment. Even if I move this, 49 degrees. I need to move this particular angle. Okay. So this BEF and BAC are complement to each other. They are called as complementary angle because they exactly fit to form 90 degrees. I hope this is clear to all of you. This much portion. So now we talk about another pair of angles. They are supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are those angles whose sum of the measures is equal to 180 degree. For example, this angle BAC and angle DEF again are supplementary because when you add the measures of these angles, it comes out to be 180 degree. 131 plus 49 is 180 degree. These two angles are called as supplementary angles. Okay, I'm separating it. This angle and this angle are supplementary because when you add these two angles, they come out to be exactly 180. Okay, now similarly, if I reduce any one of these angles, this is your two angles, so they are forming 180. Now, if I try to reduce one of these angles, this angle I am reducing, suppose I am reducing it 40 degrees. In order to make the other angle supplementary, it will increase and its value will be 140 degrees. This 140 and 40 will now form completely a pair of supplementary angles. Now, suppose I reduce this particular angle is now 70. In order to become a supplement, this will be increasing and this is the supplementary angle. This 110 exactly, 69 degree and 111 degrees. They are the supplementary angles. So when sum of two measures of two angles is 180 degree, you call them a pair of supplementary angles. Okay, I can separate this here. These two angles are angle DEF and angle CBA are supplementary because when you add the measures of the angles, you get it as 180 degree. Okay. Now let us talk about adjacent angles. Angle ABD and angle CBD are adjacent angles. Why do you call them adjacent angles? It is because these two angles, that is angle ABD and angle CBD, share a common vertex, that is vertex B, and they share a common arm BD. दोनों का एक vertex common है और एक arm भी common है. Moreover, the other two arms, which are the non-common arms, BC and AB, lie on either side of BD. ये दोनों arms जो है इसके इस तरफ और इस तरफ lie करते हैं. So such a pair of angle is called as adjacent angles. One more very important thing, that the measure of the individual angles, that is angle ABD and angle DBC, will be equal to angle ABC. You can see it clearly here. Angle ABD is 38 degree, angle DCB is 28 degree, and this angle gamma is angle ABC. That is the sum of these two, 66 degree. I can change the measures and show you. As I change the measure, here again you can see 38 plus 47 giving 87. So sum of this angle and this angle is always equal to this angle ABC. So angle ABD and angle CBD form a pair of adjacent angles having a common vertex B and a common arm BD. And another thing, the two non-common arms lie on either side of the common arm BD. the sum of the individual angles, individual pairs, will be equal to this complete angle ABC. Such a pair of angles are termed as adjacent angles. Even if I change any of these arms, you can see the sum becoming equal to the sum of the two angles, that is angle ABC. I hope you understood this. Now let us look on to some other pairs of angles. Here, if I look at the angle ABC, which is 43.27, and angle ABD, which is 71.79, ABC and ABD, although they have the same vertex B, they are not adjacent. Why are they not adjacent? They are not adjacent because the common arm, that is the common arm AB of ABC and ABD, this is the common arm that is not lying between the two non-common arms. This arm इन दोनों आर्म्स के बीच में नहीं है, इसीलिए ये दोनों एंगल्स, जैसे ये बड़ा एंगल ABD और एंगल ABC, दे आर नॉट एडजेसेंट. अगर ये आर्म इसके बीच में होता तो हम बोल सकते थे कि ये एडजेसेंट है. अभी ये एडजेसेंट नहीं है. इज इट क्लियर? क्या प्रॉब्लम है? क्योंकि जो कॉमन होता है इस वाले एंगल और इस वाले एंगल में AB, उसको इन दोनों नॉन कॉमन आर्म्स के बीच में होना चाहिए. ऐसा भी हो जाता, ये इधर आ जाता, तब भी ये कॉमन हो एडजेसेंट हो जाता. ठीक है. अब अनदर एग्जांपल देखो. एंगल EFG एंड एंगल EGH, ये दोनों में कॉमन आर्म तो है और वो इन दो नॉन कॉमन आर्म के बीच में है, लेकिन तब भी ये दोनों एंगल्स एडजेसेंट नहीं है. अब ये एडजेसेंट क्यों नहीं है? ये एडजेसेंट इसलिए नहीं है क्योंकि उनका वर्टेक्स जो है वो कॉमन नहीं है, दो अलग अलग वर्टेक्स है. तो ये दोनों लगते तो एडजेसेंट है, बट दीज आर नॉट एडजेसेंट एंगल्स. एडजेसेंट एंगल होने के लिए तुम्हारा वर्टेक्स कॉमन आना चाहिए एंड जो कॉमन आर्म है दो नॉन कॉमन आर्म के बीच में होना चाहिए. इज दिस क्लियर नाउ? Now let us talk about another pair of angles which we call a linear pair. Linear pair is a pair of adjacent angles, but what is the speciality in a linear pair? It is that the sum of the measures of the two angles which are forming the linear pair, it will be 180 degree. That means an adjacent angles whose angle measures, when you add, if it becomes 180 or if they are supplementary, you call it a linear pair. So I can see this. This is a normal adjacent angle, but when the sum of these two angles becomes 180, you call it a linear pair. We can change and show you. Suppose here this way, 93 and 87, this is a linear pair. This is a linear pair. This is a linear pair. So all these two angles here, alpha and beta, they are the adjacent angles. They together, they form a linear pair. Another speciality of the linear pair is that the two arms, the non-common arms, they form a straight line. Okay, so this is a linear pair. You know what a linear pair, is. There are two axioms that are related to linear pair. Now, what are axioms? Axioms are statements that are true. सच्ची statements है and you don't need a proof for that. उसको prove करने की जरूरत नहीं, वो सच्चाई है, आपको मान के चलना पड़ेगा. So दो axioms है linear pair से related. Linear pair क्या है? जब एक line segment या line पे एक ray होता है, then the two adjacent angles that are formed, they form a linear pair, and the sum of a linear pair, the measures of a linear pair is always 180 degree. So the two axioms related to linear pair are axiom number 1, if a ray stands on a line, then the sum of two adjacent angles so formed is 180. Secondly, if sum of two adjacent angles is 180, then the line on which it is standing, that is the common arms of the angles, it forms a line. Okay. Now that you have already learned about linear pair, I should tell you the two linear pair axioms also. Axioms, as I've already told you, axiom means truth, which don't need any proof. So what is the first axiom related to linear pair? It states that if I have a line segment or a line, and if a ray stands on this line, then the sum of the adjacent angles formed will always be 180 degree. You can see here 102 degrees and 78 degree. The sum is 180 degree. Even if I change measures, the angles will change, measures will change, but the sum will remain always the same. This is the first axiom. Now, what is the second axiom? इसी को थोड़ा उल्टा लिखते हैं. Suppose we are having two adjacent angles. दो adjacent angle ऐसे हैं कि उनका sum 180 है. तो दोनों adjacent angles के जो non common arms होंगे वो एक दूसरे के opposite lie करेंगे. If you have a pair of adjacent angles in such a way that they form a supplementary angles like this, then the non-common arms of these adjacent angles will lie in opposite direction. This is the second axiom. Okay. Now let us talk about another pair of angles which we call as the vertically opposite angles. When two lines or line segments intersect at a point, four angles are formed. Now, the pair of angles which are opposite to each other are called as vertically opposite angles. Here angle AOD and angle BOC are vertically opposite angles. Similarly, these blue color angles, that is angle DOB and angle AOC, are vertically opposite angles. Can you see what is the speciality of these angles? If you see very carefully, the vertically opposite angles, this alpha and gamma, are equal. Similarly, in this case, the vertically opposite angles beta and gamma are equal. So, when two lines intersect, they form two pairs of vertically opposite angles and the vertically opposite angles are equal. You can see here, if I go and change this, if I change the values, they are going to be always equal. See here, I am changing, they are equal. I change the values, they are equal. So vertically opposite angles are always equal. They are formed when two lines intersect at a point. Okay. Now let us prove the theorem that if two lines intersect, then the pair of vertical angles that are formed, vertically opposite angles that are formed, they are equal. I'll repeat the theorem. If two lines intersect, then the pair of vertically opposite angles formed will be equal. Here I have to show angle AOD is equal to angle BOC and angle BOD is equal to angle AOC. So the theorem is when two lines intersect, the pair of vertically opposite angles are equal. So now coming on to the proof, we will use the axiom or the property which we know. So I will take, let CD be a line and let AO be a ray standing on this line. In such cases, angle AOC and angle AOD will form a linear pair, isn't it? So angle AOC plus angle AOD is equal to 180 degree. Okay. Now let us take another set. If I take this line AB and if a ray OD stands on AB, so now I will have another two angles which form a linear pair, that is angle AOD plus angle BOD. AB is the line and OD is the ray. So angle AOD and angle BOD, that is also equal to 180 degree. So AOC plus AOD is 180 degree. AOD plus BOD is 180 degree. So both these, sum of these angles is equal to 180 degree. So I can equate them. What is the property you will use? According to Euclid, if two things are equal to the same thing, then those two things are equal. So AOC plus AOD is equal to AOD plus BOD. So you have AOD on both the sides, it cancels off. You get angle AOC is equal to angle BOD.
Similarly, we can show angle AOD is equal to angle BOC. So thus when two lines intersect, the pair of vertically opposite angles are equal.